How to make bacon at home? Easy recipe the whole family will love. Hey, this is Ricer from Dead Broke Barbecue Nation and welcome back to the channel. But if you're new here, we try to help you enhance and amplify your backyard barbecue fun. I've made bacon a few times, but I've never been really satisfied the way it's turned out. So I asked my good friend Rusty Lamb and he gave me his recipe, and if you're not following him on Instagram, make sure that you do, because man almighty, that fella loves to make bacon. So make some room in the fridge, Bobby. We're gonna amplify some backyard barbecue fun. I have two just over 8-pound pork bellies, or 3,700 grams apiece. When you're doing actual bacon or curing, it's easier to get everything into grams. This recipe is really basic. You can add more flavors to it, but you don't want to add any more salt. You're gonna have to use your calculator to make sure that you're measuring things correctly. You want to get a nice little digital scale. And whenever you're doing any measuring, make sure that each one has its own container that you put it in, because if you got other ingredients in this and you put too much, it's a lot harder to get it out compared to just having one in there. First thing you have to do is figure out how many pounds of bacon you have, then convert it into grams. For our first ingredient, we're using 2.5% salt. I have 3,700 grams on one of those pork bellies. You take that number times by 2.5%, which equals 92.5 grams of kosher salt. Turn our little unit on, add our first container, and then we can start adding our kosher salt. Now, Rusty told me he measures out each batch for each belly, and that's probably where I was making the mistake, because I take all of my bellies and then come up with my actual batch and then try to distribute evenly. And it didn't always work the best. Start adding this in till we get to that 92. All right, I went over. That's why you always want to have one container per ingredient. So we go scoopity scoop and 92.5. Now, because I'm changing the container size, I have to make sure that I clear out my scale. Now we're going to add our quick cure or our pink salt, and that's going to be 0.25%. Same thing, times it out. So I need 9.25 grams of speed cure or pink salt. And I got this at PS Seasoning, so make sure you check the links below. Start getting that in, and this isn't gonna be very much at all. I just need a pinch out. I think we're good right there. And for the sugar, I'm going with 1%, so I need 37 grams. That's pretty easy math. And we get that in. Now you can add a little bit more sugar if you want to, or you can add other flavors. Just don't add any more salt. But seeing that I'm using some maple syrup as a binder on the outside of these bellies, I don't really need to add any more sugar. This will help. Now we want to start putting our other ingredients into this main one, and we're going to get it all mixed up. Make sure you wipe it down and scrape it in, and then just start stirring it up. Getting her mixed in well. You can put a lid on this and shake it if you wanted to. That works great, but we're just gonna sit and spin. I think this is pretty dang good, if you ask me. Now we'll get our belly on here, add the deliciousness to it. Nice thin coat just to go ahead and hold our cure to it. Get a little bit in my paw, start sprinkling it on. The cure is gonna work when we get it in this bag. Take a big old Ziploc. They work pretty good. This is always where you're gonna get a little messy doing it, but oh well, cooking ain't always clean. Now that I have it in the Ziploc, we're just gonna glug, glug, glug a little bit of this maple syrup in there, spread it all around. And like I say, this is where your hand's gonna get a little dirty. Grab a bunch of the cure, start sprinkling it around in there. Now I am gonna rotate these every day, so plenty of cure is just gonna work back and forth. Make sure you're getting the sides and all that covered too. Get all this cure in this bag. Get the air out of it the best that you can and get this bag sealed up. Now it's gonna go back in the refrigerator and it's gonna cure for 7 to 10 days. As the days go by, you're gonna probably bleed out a little bit of the air out of the bag, but make sure that you don't let any of that cure out. That's all the magic. Now I'm just gonna repeat on the other belly that I have, but before I go, I wanna make sure that I give my Patreons and the people that have joined the membership a huge thank you, because without you, I can't do this. Make sure that you join the Dead Broke Barbecue Nation over on Facebook. The next time you see me, it's gonna be 7 or 10 days, and we'll get these pork bellies under some smoke. This 16 pounds of pork belly is cured for 9 days. So in reality, we have raw cured bacon. I took the bellies out of the fridge, got them out of the Ziploc bags, and thoroughly rinsed them off with some cold water in the sink. Now we actually want to get these bellies and soak them in some cold water for a couple hours. We want to pull a little bit of that salt flavor out of these pork bellies, and trust me, if you don't soak them, you're going to have some salty bacon. I got some really cold water here. We'll get this in our lug. Take one of our bellies, place it in here. Take my other one and place it in also. And you're just gonna wanna make sure you have enough water covering both of these bellies. Set a timer for 1 hour, put them back in the fridge, and then repeat this process of rinsing these bellies off again for another hour. I just finished up my second hour of our soak. Get them out of the lug, let them drip dry a little bit, get them on these wire racks, and start padding them up and getting them dry with some paper towel. Once you get these all padded up and the surface is nice and dry, then you just leave them on some wire racks and put them back in the fridge overnight. You can probably actually leave them in there for 2 nights, but I'm starting to get hungry for some of this bacon. The next time you see me is when I'll fire up the Pro Smokers PK100 and we'll get these bellies under some smoke. I'm on day 10 on these slabs of bacon, but now it's time to take these hangers and get this bacon under some smoke. Now when you grab this bacon after drying, it's starting to already stiffen up, and that's a good thing. Take my hooks and I'm gonna actually go through the fat side first. Just kind of line them up, pinch it through, get those hooks out so it's nice and tight. And this is just gonna hang right in the smoker. And I'm also hanging them on the little bit more meatier, thicker side of this slab of bacon. Roll my table out of the way and we're gonna get our Pro Smokers PK100 preheated. Turn the main power on and we'll set it at 100 degrees just to preheat it at first. So let's suit up and let's get this bacon hanging. You can buy what they call smoke sticks for this PK100. So we're gonna hang it right here, grab our 2 slabs of bacon, and let's go ahead and hang them in there. Get one right here, the other one right here. We'll just slide them in. Now you don't want this bacon touching. Now I'm gonna run a couple of my probes for my ThermoWorks signals right down the back here through the dampener. And these probes are just to give me a good ballpark of what we're reading on the internal temperature. That way I don't have to open the pit all the time and check the temperatures with my thermal pen. This slab is just a trifle thicker than this one. I'm actually gonna take another one of these little smoke sticks so these don't sit and wobble around all the time. And I owe that idea to my oldest because he said, well, maybe you put both of them together. Good job, Carl. Now we'll close the cabinet back up and we're gonna let this run for 1 hour at 100 degrees. Don't forget to turn on my ThermoWorks. So right now I have an internal temperature of 39 and 40 degrees on these slabs. I'll bring them back and we'll throw a little hickory sawdust on here to give us our smoke flavor on this bacon. Now it's not bacon if you don't have any smoke added to it, and we're gonna be using some hickory sawdust to give us that little extra flavor to this bacon. PS Seasoning sells this sawdust because you want it to make sure that it's a food grade. With the PK100, it's important that you get this sawdust moist. You can't just put it in here, it's gonna burn up right away. And we're gonna wanna just mix it around a little bit, but this sawdust is gonna suck in that water like crazy. You want it to be a nice, slow, smoldering smoke. Now you should be able to see down there, that's our heating element. And this is gonna be tricky, but we're gonna set this sawdust right on top of that. And I'll close my dampener down to about 3/4 because that way it's still breathing and we're getting that moisture out because we are trying to dry this bacon still. And my final step is get this up to 110 degrees. And I'm gonna run this with smoke in it for about 5 hours. And then we'll check our internal temperatures and see where we're at. I'm 5 hours into this smoke. Let's go ahead and check out and see how our bacon is starting to look. Well, we certainly are looking good. Starting to get a little bit of smoke color on this. That's looking perfect. I'm gonna turn the PK up to 130 degrees. I'm not sure if it's too bright in here, if you're gonna be able to actually catch the smoke coming out of the stack, but it's a perfect little stream. I'm running the PK at 130 degrees until all of that sawdust is burnt out. That should give me enough smoky flavor on that bacon. It's been 2 hours and our PK is burning nice and clean. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this bacon before we crank it up. Wow, look at that color. So we can see that we're starting to really develop a good smoke on this bacon. And both of these slabs are right around that 110 degrees internal. Now we're gonna turn this thing up to 170 degrees. This bacon has some really good color on it, and actually we could pull it right now and let it just start to cool down. I'm obviously gonna cook this bacon again before we're gonna actually eat it. So to make this simple, I'm actually just gonna run the PK 100 for about another hour, and then we're gonna pull this bacon out. I've got a total of 9 hours into this cook. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Oh yeah, I'm for sure really liking that. It's hard to see inside the pit, but let's get these out. But you can see we got a beautiful coat of smoke on these for sure. Just look at that color, and I can smell the smoke on them. These certainly are gonna be good. Now I'm gonna take these slabs and put them on my wire racks and just let them air dry and kind of cool down for a little bit. Then I'm gonna vacuum seal each of those slabs, and we're gonna put them back in the refrigerator for 2 days. I want that smoke to permeate or penetrate into that bacon. If you go ahead and start slicing them up now, you're gonna lose a little bit of that smoky flavor. Finally, the next time you see me is when I'm gonna be slicing them up, and we're gonna cook up a couple strips of bacon. The bacon's been vacuum sealed and in the fridge for 2 days to absorb all of that smoky flavor. It's time to start slicing this up, so I put on my cut-resistant gloves. You know, better to be safe than sorry. Get the first one out. It smells so good. We're gonna have some bacon. My slicer is only a 10-inch. I wish I had a 12, because I think the deck is a little bit bigger, but we can make this work still. Part of it's gonna have to hang over the edge a little bit, but I'll make it work. And I have my blade set up to about 1/8 of an inch. Again, if you have a 12-inch, I think you're gonna have a little bit bigger deck, and you can kind of get creative if you want. You could fold this in half a little bit, but I've had the best luck just kind of playing with it like this. So here's our bacon. Looks pretty darn good. Nice smoke penetration, great color. We're gonna have some smoky bites. And then I just start stacking them up because I'm gonna vacuum seal this bacon and put it in the freezer. I try to shoot for about a pound a package. I don't sit and weigh it all out. I just kind of feel that that's what we're gonna eat for a breakfast or for a meal. I'll bring you back when I'm all done slicing up this bacon, and then we're gonna put it on the griddle, try a piece. I kept a few of these slices out. I didn't make it to the vacuum sealer. Lay them right on our little flat top from Pit Boss. Gotta love the sizzle of bacon. And there's even a little touch of hickory smoke in the air. They're curling up like the pig's tail. I forgot my bacon press in the house, but this ain't about how to cook bacon. It's about how to make bacon. I like mine crispy, so it's getting that nice golden brown. And my bacon is done. Time for the big moment. This bacon is absolutely incredible. Thank you, Rusty, for your recipe. I'll put it in the description below because he said it's okay that I share with the rest of you. That smoky flavor, man, there's nothing better than homemade bacon. Well, that's all I got. Roll the nation. I mean, this is spot on. It's spot on.